Hi students, I am doing this video for preparing the obstetrics and gynecological nursing students for their practical examination. First itself, let us study about the female pelvis. So this is the female pelvis. It composed of four bones. Two innominate bone, one innominate bone, second innominate bone, one sacrum, and here actually we are having a triangular shape bony part that is known as the coccyx, but it's unfortunately it is missing over this pelvis. Here it will be there. So these are the four bones of the female pelvis: two innominate bone, one sacrum, and one coccyx. Now we can see the parts of this innominate bone. It includes ilium, ischium, and pubic bone. It has got three parts: ilium, ischium, and pubic bone. So first let us see about the ilium. It is the largest flared out part. Its upper border is the iliac crest. This upper border is the iliac crest. The bony prominence in front of the iliac crest. This bony prominence in front of the iliac crest is known as the anterior superior iliac spine. A short distance below the anterior superior iliac spine, there is another projection, this one and this one. This is known as anterior inferior iliac spine. So this is anterior superior iliac spine. This is anterior inferior iliac spine. And at the back side, same way, we are having at the posterior part, we are having posterior superior iliac spine and posterior inferior iliac spine. Posterior superior iliac spine and posterior inferior iliac spine. Here we can see a concave anterior surface. This concave surface, this is known as the iliac fossa. So this is the iliac crest. Upper border is the iliac crest. This is anterior superior iliac spine, anterior inferior iliac spine, iliac fossa, posterior superior iliac spine, and posterior inferior iliac spine. Okay, these are the main parts of the ilium. Now let us see about the ischium. This is the thickest lower part. This portion is the ischium. The largest prominence in the ischium, this prominence is known as the ischial tuberosity. And this is the ischial tuberosity. When we are sitting, actually our body rests on this ischial tuberosity. And if you are looking into the pelvis, here, see here, you can see an inward projection. An inward projection above the ischial tuberosity is that inward projection is known as the ischial spine. The inward projection above the ischial tuberosity, this one and this one, these are the ischial spines. During the delivery of the fetus, the station of the fetal head will be estimated in relation to the ischial spine. Station of the fetal head is estimated in relation to the ischial spine. Next one is pubic bone. This has got an anterior part, and this anterior part is having two oar-like projections and a body. This is the body and these are the oar-like projections. And these oar-like projections are called this one and this one. Here this one and this one. This is superior rami and this is inferior rami. These oar-like projections are called superior rami and inferior rami. And this is the body of the, this is the body and this is the body of the pubic bone. And here you can see a space. A space is there, and this is known as the obturator foramen. This space is enclosed by the rami, superior rami, inferior rami, and the body, and in this side it's by the ischium, rami, body. This is obturator foramen. And here you can see at the side you can see a cup shaped depression, cup shaped fossa, and this is known as the acetabulum. Here actually the bone, the head of the femur receives or articulates with this acetabulum. It is formed by 2/5 of the ilium, 2/5 of the ilium, 2/5 of the ischium, and 1/5 of the pubic bone. 2/5 of ilium, 2/5 of ischium, and 1/5 of pubic bone. This is the opposite side acetabulum. Okay, that's all about the main parts of the innominate bone. And in the back side of this pelvis, you can see a large curvature or a large on the back side, a curve in the lower border of the innominate bone that extends from the posterior inferior iliac spine to the posterior inferior iliac spine to the ischial spine. Posterior inferior iliac spine to the ischial spine. This is known as the greater sciatic notch. And the curve between the ischial spine, this is the ischial spine, this is the ischial tuberosity. This curve is known as the lesser sciatic notch. This is the greater sciatic notch, this is the lesser sciatic notch. The curve between posterior inferior iliac spine to the ischial spine. Posterior inferior iliac spine to the ischial spine. This is greater sciatic notch, and the curve between the ischial spine to the ischial tuberosity is the lesser sciatic notch. Now we can see about the sacrum. It consists of 5 fused vertebrae. 5 fused, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 fused vertebrae are there in the sacrum. The upper flared out part, this part is known as the sacral promontory, and the lateral extension of the sacrum, this side and this side, this is known as the ala or wings of the sacrum. And this anterior concave surface is known as the hollow of the sacrum. Anterior concave surface, this surface is the hollow of the sacrum. And last part is coccyx. 4 fused vertebrae are there in the coccyx, and it forms a triangular shaped bone. Now we can see the functions of this pelvis. It helps for walking, running, sitting, kneeling, and mainly for the childbearing. Female pelvis helps for the childbearing also. And it transmits the weight of the lung to the legs. It protects the pelvic organs. The pelvic organs which are here are protected by this pelvis. And it transmits the cauda equina and distributes the nerves to various parts of the pelvis. Now we can see the landmarks of the pelvis. There are 8 landmarks, that is sacral promontory, sacral ala or wings of the sacrum both sides, sacroiliac joint, the joint between the sacrum and the ilium, this sacroiliac joint and this sacroiliac joint, iliopectineal line, this curved line is known as the iliopectineal line, this side and this side, iliopectineal line. And at the distal portion towards the, when we are coming towards the symphysis pubis or pubic bone, there is a projection in the iliopectineal line. That projection is known as the iliopectineal eminence. Iliopectineal eminence, superior ramus of the pubic bone, superior ramus of the pubic bone, upper inner border of the pubic bone, upper inner border of the pubic bone, and this 2 pubic bones joins together and it forms the symphysis pubis. So upper inner border of the symphysis pubis. These are the 8 landmarks of the pelvis. I will repeat once again. Sacral promontory, ala or wings of the sacrum, sacroiliac joint, iliopectineal line, iliopectineal eminence, superior ramus of the pubic bone, superior ramus of the pubic bone, upper inner border of the pubic bone, and upper inner border of the symphysis pubis. These are the landmarks of the pelvis. Now we can see the joints of the pelvis. There are mainly 4 pelvic joints. One symphysis pubis, that is formed at the junction between the 2 pubic bones. 2 pubic bones joins together and forms the symphysis pubis. And 2 sacroiliac joints, one here and one here, joints between the sacrum and the ilium. This is the strongest bone of the body actually, and so it is the strongest joint also. Sacroiliac joint between the sacrum and the ilium, and one sacrococcygeal joint that is between the sacrum and the coccyx. So these are the four joints of the pelvis: one symphysis pubis, two sacroiliac joints, and one sacrococcygeal joint. Next, pelvic ligaments. There is an interpubic ligament between the symphysis pubis. Here, interpubic ligament is there, and between the sacroiliac joint, sacroiliac ligament is there. Sacroiliac ligament, and between the sacrum and coccyx, we are having sacrococcygeal ligament, and between the sacrum and the ischial tuberosity, sacrum and the ischial tuberosity, that is sacrotuberous ligament, sacrum, ischial tuberosity, sacrotuberous ligament, and between the sacrum and the ischial spine, sacrum and ischial spine, that is sacrospinous ligament, sacrospinous ligament. So once again I will repeat the ligaments: interpubic ligament, sacroiliac ligament, sacrococcygeal ligament, sacrotuberous ligament, and sacrospinous ligament. So that's all about the ligaments of the pelvis. Now we can see the measurements, that is mainly the diameters of the pelvis. Actually, you just look into this. Pelvis is like a canal, and through this canal only the baby will pass during the birth process. And anteriorly, this anterior portion of the pelvis is having less length when comparing with the posterior part. This anterior part is 4 cm length, and posteriorly it is 11.5 cm. This is 4 cm and this is 11.5 cm. This true pelvis, it is divided into 3, that is inlet, this is a cavity, and this portion is the outlet of the pelvis. So first let us see about the inlet. Its shape is almost round. This is the inlet. Shape is almost round, and the anterior posterior diameter is the shortest diameter of the inlet. Anterior posterior diameter is less when comparing with the other diameters. And next is the anterior posterior diameter. It's the distance between the we know that this is the sacral promontory. It's a distance between the midpoint of the sacral promontory. This is the midpoint of the sacral promontory to the inner margin of the upper border of the symphysis pubis. Inner margin of the upper border of the symphysis pubis. Midpoint of the sacral promontory to the inner margin of the upper border of the symphysis pubis. That is anterior posterior diameter. It is 11 cm. 11 cm. Next is obstetrical conjugate. It's a distance between the midpoint of the sacral promontory to the bony prominence or bony projection in the midline of the symphysis pubis. Here, so there is a slight projection that is at the midline of the symphysis pubis. From the middle of the sacral promontory to the midline of the symphysis pubis, this is 10 cm. It is obstetrical conjugate. And next one is diagonal conjugate. It's the distance between the lower border of the symphysis pubis to the midpoint of the sacral promontory. Midpoint of the sacral promontory to the lower border of the symphysis pubis. It is 12 cm. So 11 cm, 11 cm, 10 cm, and 12 cm. Now we can see the transverse diameter. It's a distance between the two farthest points of the pelvic brim. Two farthest points of the pelvic brim. This is 13 cm. Farthest points of the pelvic brim. And next one is oblique diameter. It extends from the sacroiliac joint to the opposite iliopubic eminence. Sacroiliac joint to the opposite iliopubic eminence or iliopectoral eminence. It is 12 cm. 12 cm. And the next one is sacrocotyloid diameter. It's the distance between the midpoint of the sacral promontory to the iliopubic eminence. Midpoint of the sacral promontory to the iliopubic eminence, it is 9.5 centimeter. 9.5 centimeter. Now we can see, that's all about the diameters of the inlet. Now let us see about the cavity. Cavity is a segment of the pelvis bounded above by the inlet and below by the plane of pelvic dimensions of outlet, and it's almost round in shape. See, you can see here it is almost round in shape. And the diameters of the cavity, the anterior posterior diameter is from the midpoint of the symphysis pubis, to the junction of second and third sacral vertebra, that is 12 centimeter. Midpoint of the symphysis pubis to the junction between the second and third sacral vertebra, it is 12 centimeter. Next, transverse diameter, it's a point between the soft tissues covering the this is the obturator foramina and this is obturator foramina. So this is the points between the soft tissues which are covering the obturator foramen. So it will be like this. So this is also 12 centimeter. Now we can see about the outlet. This is the outlet. And first is the transverse diameter of the outlet. It is otherwise known as bispinous diameter. Bispinous diameter, it is 10.5 centimeter. It's a distance between the tip of the two ischial spine. This is the distance between the tip of the two ischial spine. It is 10.5 centimeter. And next is anterior posterior diameter. It is the inferior border of the symphysis pubis to the tip of the inferior border of the symphysis pubis to the tip of the sacrum. Inferior border to the tip of the sacrum. And next is posterior sagittal diameter. Actually we should hold the pelvis like this, and we are supposed to explain by holding like this. And posterior sagittal diameter, it is 5 centimeter. It is the distance between the tip of the sacrum to the midpoint of the bispinous. Here bispinous diameter will be there. This is the bispinous diameter, and posterior sagittal diameter is 5 centimeter. It's the distance between the tip of the sacrum to the midpoint of the bispinous diameter. It is 5 centimeter. Next, actually this outlet is, we can, if you are looking in only into the bony part, we are getting anatomical outlet, or it is otherwise known as the bony outlet. This anatomical outlet or bony outlet contains the anterior portion is the lower border of the symphysis pubis, and laterally this symphysis ischiopubic rami, inferior rami of the symphysis pubis, and ischial tuberosity, sacrotuberous ligament, and posteriorly by the tip of the coccyx. This is the borders of the anatomical outlet, that is lower border of the symphysis pubis, inferior rami, ischial tuberosity, sacrotuberous ligament, and tip of the coccyx. And now its shape is almost diamond shaped. See, almost diamond shape, and the diameters of the outlet, anatomical outlet, it is the anterior posterior diameter of the anatomical outlet is from the lower border of the symphysis pubis to the tip of the coccyx. Lower border of the symphysis pubis to the, we can imagine that coccyx is here, tip of the coccyx, it is 11 centimeter. And transverse diameter, that is the distance between the inner borders of the ischial tuberosity, this is also 11 centimeter. And posterior sagittal diameter, that is the anterior posterior diameter between the sacrococcygeal joint to the midpoint of transverse diameter of the outlet. That is here we are having the transverse diameter of the anatomical outlet between the two ischial tuberosity, and this distance is posterior sagittal is from the sacrococcygeal joint to the midpoint of this transverse diameter. This is 8.5 centimeter. And now we can see the obstetrical outlet, actually in the obstetrical outlet, along with this bony things, we are including the soft tissues which are covering this outlet also. Next we can see the subpubic angle. Here you can see an angle between the two rami. This is about 85 degree. And subpubic arch, the arch formed by the descending, this arch is known as a subpubic arch. Now we can see the muscles of the pelvic floor. There are superficial muscles and deep muscles. There are mainly 5 superficial muscles are there. That is external anal sphincter, which encircles the anus and is attached behind to the coccyx. It encircles the anus and it is attached behind by few fibers to the coccyx. And next one is transverse perineal muscles. It passes from the ischial tuberosity to the center of the perineum. From the ischial tuberosity to the center of the perineum. And the third one is bulbocavernous muscle. It passes from the perineum around the vagina to the corpora cavernosa of the clitoris, just under the pubic arch. So the 3 muscles are external anal sphincter, transverse perineal muscles and bulbocavernous. And the fourth one is ischio-cavernous. Ischio-cavernous. It is from the ischial tuberosity to the pubic arch. Ischial tuberosity to the pubic arch, ischial tuberosity along the pubic arch to the corpora cavernosa. Ischial tuberosity along the pubic arch to the corpora cavernosa. And the last one is membranous sphincter of the urethra. It is a muscle fiber passing above and below the urethra and is attached to the pubic bones. Muscle fibers passing below and above the urethra and is attached to the pubic bone. And the muscles of the deep layer includes pubococcygeus, iliococcygeus and ischio-coccygeus. Pubococcygeus is from the pubis to the coccyx. From the pubis to the coccyx. Iliococcygeus is from the fascia covering the obturator internus muscle to the coccyx. Obturator internus muscle to the coccyx. And ischio-coccygeus is from the ischial spine to the coccyx. From the ischial spine to the coccyx. So these are the important things about the female pelvis. Actually, a lot of things are there in the textbooks, but here in this video I am dealing only with the important points that is expected out of a student during the practical examination. And for the future videos and updates, please subscribe this channel. Thank you.